This first picture is the back of the Catholic Church rectory, or the priest's house, and you're looking to the southwest. The house in the background with the roof flipped open is on the other corner of the block. That was John Betscheider Sr.'s house, and it was pretty much totally destroyed. This picture here is Dr. R.E. Penry's house. It was newly built, probably just in the year before the tornado or two. You'll see in the front yard there's a small tree that he planted that's staked up yet. And he thought his house was built so well that it would be indestructible, but it received a lot of damage from the tornado. The garage was totally destroyed, and part of the kitchen was destroyed, but it was rebuilt immediately after that. Steve Anderson runs the Central Market. He lives there today. This is a scene downtown, and if you were standing behind our library in the alley looking straight south, then this was a scene. The white building you see in the background on the left, that is the back of Dega Ford Insurance Agency. And there was a house, this pile of rubbish here was a house, and I think the people that lived there they're called Delmans, and they were an older couple, but that house was totally destroyed. I don't think they were hurt, or I don't think they were in the house, as far as I know. Okay, this next picture is if you're standing on the south courthouse lawn and you're looking south, maybe a little bit to the east towards downtown, you'll see the damage down there. The building in the center between the two trees, that was called the Ring Building. It had a third floor, and it's completely gone. And right down below that building, the white building there, that was the Paul's Fruit Market. To the left, the brick building is still there. That was the telephone office, and now that's owned by David Cording. And then clear to the left at the edge was the abstract office. And where the Ring Building was, a big building, that is now Thayer County Bank. Right behind that car, that is a building that was totally destroyed, and that was Gerald Lennon's monument building, where he made monuments. And he put up a kind of a pole building and a sunshade type deal on there, and he continued making monuments in there even after the tornado for quite a while. But he was a really old gentleman, really nice guy, and anyway, that's his. Now that is right behind that car. That's where the law office is, Murray Law Office. The first gray building you see behind the car, that is now Elding's office, and at that time it was a lawyer's office. This here scene is if you're standing on the corner, tatty corner from the theater, and you're looking north, that's the post office. You see in the background, and that probably received very little damage, probably lost some windows. And this corner here was a used car lot, and I think Jim Johnson had that car lot there, and later on he became Thayer County Sheriff. And that little shack to the left, that was his office for his car lot. Okay, this scene here is looking at the back of the Catholic Church, what is left of it, in the background. And on the right is a little house that's still there, pretty much stood unscathed in the tornado. But there was an older couple living in there, and the woman that was looking out the window at the time of the tornado, and she got hit by a flying board, and she actually, I think, died from that later on, but not right away. The house in the foreground was a big two-story house that was just moved in there, and that's a brand new foundation, and it was just totally destroyed. And I think it would belong to Bill Walsh, and that would have been Dick Walsh's parents. This scene here is if you were standing on the corner down by Ranky Shakes on the south side of the park, you're looking up 4th Street, and you see the courthouse steeple in the background. And the storage to the left there by the pickup truck, that was there was a Mitchell building, a Mitchell garage. You see there's an old gas pump there. And then those other stores, there was a furniture store there and a mortuary. And then you're going up to the main, where the red truck is parked, that's on the main intersection of Lincoln, 4th and Lincoln there. This here is also another scene like the first picture. It's the back of the Catholic Church Rectory house. And you'll see the roof of the church there, the peak part. That the church is on your right, and that roof just pushed over from the church and into the priest's house was a 2-story brick house, and it just totally destroyed it when that roof come over and smashed into it. Well, he was in the house, and he actually, the floor opened up, and he almost fell into the floor below, and he claims his pants were caught on a board or something, and he was kind of suspended. Otherwise, he would have fell all the way down, but he was unhurt. That was Father Crawley that lived there at that time. This is a Christian church, which is catty-corner from the post office. Before the tornado, it looks like it had very little damage, but they said it was structurally unsound, and they tore it down and built a new church. This is the back of the Chevrolet garage. That now is not a Chevrolet garage anymore, but that building also was probably maybe only 4 years old, and at that time it was called E.F. Kilmer Company, and it actually lost most of the roof, which you can't tell, and just about all the windows, but it wasn't a very old building. So you're standing in the alley looking towards the south and east on that photo. This photo, you're looking to the north and east, and it's on 5th and Union, and that house was totally destroyed. There's a duplex in there that was built after the tornado, and it's quite old now, but that's what's on that corner now. This is a scene looking straight north. If you were standing at the end of Lincoln Avenue, where there used to be railroad tracks right there, and you're looking straight north at the elevators. That building clear to the right, down low, you see with a green roof, that is the office of Norder Ag today. That building is still there. These other elevators were all torn down, and we had all new ones built since then. But the tornado threw those cars right off the tracks down there too. That railroad that came in there was called the Burlington, and this was the end of the tracks, right, like standing behind us by the sail barn. There was a turntable there, because the engine at that time was a steam engine, and it didn't run backwards. You had to turn it around and head it out of town. And that's why there's 2 tracks there, so they can turn that engine around and head it back out of town, then hook onto the train again. This is if you're standing in the same place and you just turned and looked east, you're looking right up Main Street. And there again is Chevrolet garage on the left, and the tall building behind the Chevrolet garage, that's a city hall with a chimney sticking up. And then that white building clear up there, that was a hotel that was on the corner and across the street east of Central Market. That burnt down later. I don't know what year that was, but this building also, I don't have a real sure idea what it was. I'm not too sure that it wasn't the back of our theater, and you might be looking straight east. And the theater was, as you can see, if this is correct, received heavily damaged, and it was all torn down again. You can see that there's a piano in the back, and I'm thinking maybe that wall that you see to the left where it meets the roof there might have been back by where the screen was in the back of the theater, but I'm not sure about that. I just think that's what it was. You're looking towards the south and east here, and you're between 3rd and 4th Street. This here was the Minneapolis Moline Implement Shop on the left behind the tree, and that's now Ranke's Machine Shop. The little red building in the center and the background, that is still there, and that is Moeller Electric. And that house on the right is still there. But there's 2 buildings that were built in between there since then now that were Poot and Brokaw's shop buildings, and they're still there now, but they were built after the tornado. This here scene here, if you were standing behind Central Market's parking lot on the west side, and you're looking south, pretty much south, a little bit east, but if you look real close, just to the left of those trees on the right, you'll see it says Norris Public Power. That's still there. The white building that you see in the back on the right, that was Harry Dutcher Standard Station, and later on that was torn down and North added onto their building. But these were brand new John Deere tractors that were stored down there. Their building that used to be where the parking lot is now, that was the John Deere dealership, and it was a big, beautiful building, but it actually burned down a couple years before the tornado, and they still had a building back there in the back that they stored tractors in. And the building you see to the left at the top of it, that is the back of Central Market where it is today. This shot here would be, again, if you were standing back there behind the library or maybe a little bit to the south, and you're looking to the south and west, this is, again, that's a ring building. Behind that pole with the transformer on it, the top floor is completely gone. That's where the bank is now. The white building that's all crooked, that was the back of Paul's Fruit Market. That was pretty much totally destroyed. And if you look in there today, you'd be looking at the back of True Value Hardware, and also that white building is where the bank parking lot is. This, I think, is in the back alley between 3rd and 4th Street, and there was a lot of rubble there, and cars got smashed. I think that's about a 48 Dodge or something that's totally destroyed. This is this car probably was drugged there, but I don't think it was there because it was one that got buried in bricks. And they tell me, I wasn't downtown, they said, but there was a lot of cars after the tornado. The horns honked until the batteries went dead because they smashed the top down, the horn buttons got smashed down, and it told them. But they drugged that car there, and this is actually on the east side of Roosevelt Park, and you're looking, I think, towards the north and west there. This is a picture of the courthouse, and you're on the north side of it looking south, and it lost a lot of the roof. But I have kind of maybe a bad opinion. I think it should have been rebuilt, but I guess our county commissioners at that time decided that it was easier to tear that off and make a flat top building out of it, which really ruined the looks of it. Those spires that you see clear on the top, on the corners, there was probably 4 of them. I don't know where they all went, but 2 of those are setting at the entrances to the golf course out there, Hebron Country Club. When you drive in, if you missed the driveway, you would hit one of those, so you can see them setting out there. They're probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 foot tall. The building to the right of the courthouse, that was the old Thayer County Jail, and the sheriff actually lived in there and took care of the prisoners, but he lived in the jailhouse. And of course, that's torn down, and now the new jail is in that same spot. That old garage by the blue car, that I think is still there. It survived. It wasn't much of a garage then, and it still isn't today. But
Johnny,
these trees are in the county yard. It was a county yard to the west of the courthouse, but they're pretty much destroyed. This is another shot up at the Catholic church. You'll see that peak in the back as a church. The church was to the west end of the block, and the priest's house, what you see on the left of the picture, the roof hanging down, that was the center. And then on this east side was the school, and the White House on the right was the nun's house. And then this on the corner where there's nothing behind this broken tree, that was the playground for the school. And Idon and I were in that schoolroom, the closest one to us that the window's all gone out of. We were in that the day before that. We had school there. This next picture is just the other end of the block. You're looking at 3rd and Eads, and you're looking to the north and east, and that's a picture of the church. Again, the roof is there. It just got shoved over into that priest house and destroyed it. This would be from the center of that block, looking at the church. And they also, for several years, had a fundraiser at our church to buy a new pipe organ, and it was just recently installed, and it was you can see some of the pipes hanging there behind that little tree on the left. It was totally destroyed, of course, along with many other things. This is another shot of the church, and probably from the middle of the block. And we're not sure about those people, but we think the couple on the right is Louis and Marie Weedle. This is another shot of the courthouse, and this is from the south. If you were over at the library looking at the courthouse, this is how it looked. And it doesn't look like the damage is bad there at all. You see the flagpoles leaning at 45 degrees. And the roof on that thing, that was all slate shingles. And that orangey color is like lichens or whatever forms on that. But those slate shingles would last forever.